Hi children, this is the first video of this video series Factorization. In this chapter, we are going to learn about difference between two square numbers. From the name itself, we have an idea what we are going to do. It's about difference between two square numbers. In such question, you get two square numbers and a minus in between that. In such cases, how to factorize it? If you have a question like x squared minus y squared, it's a difference between two square numbers, you can write it as x plus y into x minus y. That is the answer for difference between two square numbers. Let's try to verify this theory from some examples. Example number 1. You have to factorize x squared minus 5 squared. The first square number is x squared, next square number is 5 squared. Therefore, you can write it as x plus 5 into x minus 5. It's very easy. From example number 2, you have to factorize a squared minus 2 squared. The two square numbers are a squared and 2 squared. Therefore, you can write a plus 2 into a minus 2. You see, it's very easy. Then 4 squared minus y squared. In that case, the first square number is 4 and the second square number is y. So you cannot change it. Therefore, you can write 4 plus y into 4 minus y. I think you can understand the questions in this slide. Let's try to work out with these questions with little advancement. Example 4 is to factorize 2x squared minus y squared. Therefore, the first square number is 2x, next square number is y squared. Therefore, you can write 2x plus y, 2x minus y. It's very easy. If you come up with example 5, you can understand the question is x squared minus 3y squared. Therefore, it's x plus 3y into x minus 3y. If you come up with the example number 4 and 5, you can clearly understand that the square comes to the whole expression. The example 4 is not 2x squared, it's 2x whole thing squared. Therefore, to apply the completing square, the square should come up to the entire term. You have to understand that very clearly. If you come up with the example 6, 2x whole thing squared minus 3y whole thing squared. Therefore, the answer is 2x plus 3y into 2x minus 3y. Hopefully you can understand this concept. Let's try to move up to the next advancement of these questions. The question is to factorize x squared minus 4. Now you can say there is no square number for 4. But we know that 4 is 2 square. How does it came? 4 is 2 into 2. Therefore, 4 you can write 2 squared. Now it turned up into x squared minus 2 squared. The difference between two square numbers. Therefore, you can write x plus 2 into x minus 2. The next question. X squared minus 9. We know that 9 is 3 squared. Therefore, you can write x squared minus 3 squared. So, what is that answer? X plus 3 into x minus 3. In the next example, it is 16 minus y squared. We know that 16 is 2 square number. We can write 16 as 2 square number. That one you can say 4 squared minus y squared, 4 plus y into 4 minus y. This is the next advancement. 9x squared minus 4. To write difference between two square numbers, both facts should be complete squares. Therefore, how to write 9x squared as a complete square number? We know that 9 is 3 squared. Therefore, 9x squared I can write 3 squared into x squared. Therefore, both terms contain squares. Therefore, I can take 3x whole thing squared. minus 4 you can write 2 squared. Now you can understand that the expression is simplified into square of complete terms. 3x whole thing squared minus 2 squared. Therefore you can write this is 3x plus 2 into 3x minus 2. In example 10, the question is 25x squared minus 9. Here the square is only for x but not for 25 or 9. But we know that 25 is 5 squared. Therefore I can write 25x squared as 5 squared x squared. Therefore you can write 5x whole thing squared minus 9 you can write 3 squared. So it will turn up into 5x whole thing squared minus 3 squared. Therefore you can write 5x plus 3, 5x minus 3. Example 11. 16 minus 81y squared. 16 is 4 squared. 81 is 9 squared. Therefore you can write 81y squared as 9 squared y squared, that is 9y whole thing squared. So you can get the final answer 4 plus 3y into 4 minus 3y. Hopefully you can understand how to get this answer for such completing square number question. Now let's try to make this question little more advanced. Here the example is 4x squared minus 9y squared. 4 is 2 squared, therefore you can write 2 squared x squared, therefore you can write 2x whole thing squared. 9y squared, how to write it? 9 is 3 squared. Therefore 9y squared you can write 3 squared y squared, therefore you can write 3y whole thing squared. Then you can write the final answer 2x plus 3y, 2x minus 3y. It's very easy, no? Right, let's come up with the next example. 25x squared minus 16y squared. 25 is which square number? That is 5 squared. Therefore you can write 5 squared x squared means 5x whole thing squared. 16 is 4 squared. That means you can write 4 squared into y squared, that is 4y whole thing squared. Now it has turned up into square two numbers 5x whole thing squared and 4y whole thing squared. The difference, therefore you can write 5x plus 4y into 5x minus 4y. Carefully look into this question, children. This is 16 plus y squared. 16 is 4 squared plus y squared. Now this is not the difference between two square numbers. The two numbers are square numbers, 4 squared and y squared. But what is the operation in between that? Operation is plus. It's not the minus. Therefore, this is not a difference between two square numbers. Therefore, you cannot factorize such question. Hopefully, you can understand. You can put the previous theory only if it is difference between two square numbers. Hopefully, you enjoy my video. If you like it, put a big thumbs up and subscribe my channel. Thank you.